other division or another section was going to continue with the same work. You made a written proposal, and that only afterwards, after I think you were, don't think you were officially suspended, but you were a stay-at-home order. So that only came on the 27th of July. So that was refused. Mkhonazi had, however, made and Khumalo submission for additional funding for the task team until the end, until March 2026, and that was approved. So all that we know. And as we speak, we know the task team is still operating like they used to. You agree?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what General Masemola said prior to this meeting on 5 March. I appeared before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee of Police for a briefing by the SAPS, amongst others, focusing on the challenges relating to crime intelligence and investigation against Major General Khan, the status of the PKTT, and details of an interview by the Provincial Commissioner of KZN during the 2025 Police Day. I think that was in January 28th. It was a virtual meeting, and then he says who was attendance, and you were also in attendance. During this session, Lieutenant General Mkhonazi made an allegation that the minister knew a gentleman by the name of Brown Mkhotsi. This is but one of the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mkhonazi at the meeting. Minister Nkunu denied knowing a gentleman by that name after the meeting, in a meeting where I was present together with the Deputy Ministers Matali and Poshielo, and the minister repeated his denial regarding Brown Mkhotsi to me and the 2 Deputy Ministers. And this is the one I want to get to. On the 6th of March, I attended the Ministerial meeting in Cape Town. In attendance at the meeting was the Minister, Deputy National Commissioners, Policing and Crime Detection, Lieutenant General Musikili, and Lieutenant General Sibiya, Lieutenant General Khumalo, Chief of Staff in the Office of the Minister, Mr. Gabinde, Lieutenant General Sutumile, a Lieutenant Colonel, and me. In preparation for this meeting, Lieutenant General Khumalo prepared an updated presentation of the PKTT. After Lieutenant General Khumalo presented the briefing note to the Minister, the Deputy National Commissioner of Policing and I were in favor of the plan. But the Deputy National Commissioner of Crime Detection, Lieutenant General Sibiya, and the Chief of Staff of the Minister, Mr. Kabini, were against the plan. They were in favor of the immediate disbandment. The Minister's conduct in these meetings, and in general regarding the disbandment, was very concerning to me. I inquired from the Minister at the beginning of the meeting what was the reason and background for the decision to disband the PKTT. And then the Minister responded that the political killings took place pre-94, not after. During the meeting, the presentation of Lieutenant General Khumalo was partially accepted. The Minister was adamant and supported by Lieutenant General Sibiya and the Chief of Staff that the dockets had to be returned to the station of origin and not to another unit or structure in KZN. The Minister also made it clear that the phased-out approach or winding down of the disbandment of PKTT must be finalized during 2025. Nevertheless, and this is really the point I want to ask you about, because it seems to override this plan that was presented on 6th. Nevertheless, the meeting concluded that Lieutenant Generals Khumalo and Sentumile must revise and amend the plan in accordance with the decisions taken during the meeting. This must be prepared for sign-off by the Minister. It was agreed that there would be a further meeting convened on the 27th of March to finalize the plan. Until then, no further action would be taken, because the plan had not been approved and signed. The following was highlighted in the presentation. The need for the avoidance of adverse and unnecessary challenges that could be faced if the PKTT is disbanded was of paramount importance. In this regard, the proposal that there be a phased-out approach to the disbandment along the lines set out in the preliminary report. 2, insofar as the 114 dockets were already on the court roll or before the court, the recommendation was that these 114 dockets remain with the current PKTT officers, both in KZN and the Eastern Cape, until finalization of the prosecution process, and thereafter there will be a gradual withdrawal of the remaining PKTT members until all cases are finalized. And then there was a proposal how the remaining members of the PKTT would have to have the following responsibilities. I'm not going to read that out. That's for the record. That's at paragraph 138 at page 44 of General Masemola's affidavit. Then the General reproduces this plan at paragraph 139, and that is where you say there was some kind of an agreement or consensus or whatever. It says there, submit the final close-up report to the Minister 31 March 2025. But then at 140, the National Commissioner says, on 27 March 2025, a follow-up meeting was held regarding the implementation of the PKTT disbandment plan. In attendance at this meeting was the Minister, the 2 Deputy Ministers, Lieutenant General Suntumele, Lieutenant General Sibiya, Lieutenant General Khumalo, and a Lieutenant Colonel, and me. I must mention that the PKTT portion of the meeting, the other 10 attendees appearing on the list was not present in the meeting. Furthermore, the Lieutenant Colonel's name doesn't appear on the attendance list, but she was in attendance in the meeting during the presentation of on the PKTT, as she accompanied Lieutenant General Khumalo, and understood that she had assisted in the presentation of the preparation of the presentation. When the PKTT disbandment agenda item was discussed, the Minister became visibly angry. At this point, I, together with Lieutenant General Khumalo, was still proposing that the disbandment not be implemented, but if it was going to be implemented, that it be a gradual disbandment as proposed and agreed in the 6th of March 2025 meeting. I have no idea what transpired after the 6th of March meeting that had such a significant influence on the Minister. He was now completely against the agreed gradual approach and reverted to the immediate disbandment. The Minister appeared to be angered by the fact that the statistics presented to him in the meeting showed that the PKTT members were still working and had made progress as reported by Lieutenant General Khumalo in the meeting. So, Lieutenant General Sibiya, for your comment, this is what the National Commissioner said. There was going to be the bottom line is no immediate disbandment. They will continue to do their work until these cases are finalized.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with the fact that the National Commissioner didn't agree with immediate disbandment. And he actually produced a plan that speaks to the phasing out approach. And that plan is that what was found. It's exactly what happened.
He also didn't agree with what you wrote there on the 24th of April in that letter which you handed me, and which Brigadier Kuneni, the investigating officer, referred to in his affidavit, where it calls for the return of the dockets and effectively the disbandment of the PKTT by I think also the 24th or the end of April.
Remember that, Chair and members, the National Commissioner never made it visibly clear that he doesn't agree with the minister. And I'm sure he has said it many times, even in the commissions, in particular at the Madlanga commissions. He said he didn't really object. Then they asked him, would you carry out with him an unlawful instructions? He did. He never visibly really said, no, I don't agree. The National Commissioner worked with everyone, with us. And he never indicated really that he's not in agreement. That's why he could come up with an action plan that he approved, the one of the 6th of March. And you remember that statement where he said, he instructed General Kumalo, and his instructions took precedence over mine. We were not in competition with the National Commission. He's the National Commissioner. Once he say left is left, once he say right is right. So to say his instruction took precedence over mine. Personally, I'm saying whatever that happened on instruction of the National Commissioner, starting from the email that I received on the 3rd, leading to the action plan crafted by General Kumalo, leading to the docket being brought over as per the action plan. Everything that happened because the National Commissioner gave that instruction.
Well, it doesn't appear
from Senior Counsel.
Sorry.
I just want to bring this matter to the attention of the House. There are South Africans who are following these proceedings, and at times they struggle to hear us. I don't know whether the problem is the sound of the respective devices that they are using at their houses. But if we can try and help the Republic so that we do not get a regular feedback about people complaining about the sound, that they struggle to hear us. If we can try and help them. You may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. But you see, the National Commissioner's position remains consistent with respect, and this is apparent from his evidence, and I'm reading to you again from his affidavit, because you will recall that you submitted a proposal for additional funding. Why? Because the PKTT was going to be disbanded. You asked for additional funding. Clearly not for the PKTT. It was for the continuation of the work of the PKTT, whose dockets you had now requested to be returned, and this work was presumably going to be allocated elsewhere. So on the 22nd of July, and this I think this is while you were at home, on the 22nd of July, the National Commissioner disapproved your request for funding for the investigation of the 121 political task team killing dockets proposed by Major General Masemola